The nuns of the Holy Cross Order in Paris sought refuge through Europe. Lord Arundel of Wardour gave them a home, he gave them harbour here in 1802, and they went about creating a nunnery. The story of Stapehill really is full of adventure over 200 years.
So Gary, what were your thoughts when you first set eyes on this site as it was?
It was abandoned. The building was so decrepit, it was so decayed. A lot of the modern structures which had been built by the nuns were actually forcing the historical parts to almost collapse and fall in on themselves.
And floors were collapsing, so it became a race to get the permission to allow us to start saving this building because it was literally falling down in front of us. To be truthfully honest, this is probably the first time I've come across a site like this in my entire career, and I said I probably won't see one again. They're fairly unique.
How big a challenge was turning this into the place we see now?
The challenge of reconciling the conversion and restoration of the listed building and the problems associated with that, and then that compounded with how do we design a small village to go around the Abbey in a way that enhances the setting of the listed building rather than detracts from it. It's quite a challenge architecturally, and it just needs a lot of thought and a lot of sensitive handling.
Working with the local authority, working with the planning officers, working with the conservation officers at East Dorset District Council, we evolved a scheme to create Stapehill Village, and that will be a beautiful place in its own right, full of character, but that enabling development released the capital to create a mechanism where there was a solution to Stapehill Abbey. We were required as a planning condition to do what is called a level 3 survey, and that level 3 survey really has to try and capture the chronology of the building, the history, the sociology, the events. We spent close to a year going through all of the archives, picking out the history, picking out some of the stories which were truly unbelievable. There was a mass graveyard in the courtyard that's behind us, so we had a place where they could be reburied on holy ground.
So it was understanding of the history of the building and how it's developed and progressed and extended over the years, and it peeling back those layers and keeping the important focal points of the building.
But it was also how that history and its story could be maintained, because the buildings had a story.
So Gary, some of the architectural features obviously weren't of the time, and you've had to use some modern materials on some of the more vital architectural features, such as the guttering. Can you explain where that came from and how you came to use it?
We researched long and hard, and we found the Cascade system by Brett Martin. Through coloured, but it's actually plastic. You wouldn't believe it's plastic. It's made in the same moulds that would be used for cast iron, but with all the advantage of a modern system. It's designed to modern day standards, it meets British standard requirements, it's very well manufactured, the system is very easy to install. We'd never need to reseal the joints, we'd never need to lead the joints in, we'd never need to repaint it. But it's got fully and wholly the aesthetic of original gutters.
We've got a lot of roofs here, so what we needed was a system that could accommodate a more domestic scale roof, but could also almost accommodate an industrial scale, but all within the same system, so it's not noticeably different. We had to get these gutters approved by the local authority before we could use them, and when we suggested to them we were going to use plastic gutters, they went no. But when we proved to them and showed them the system, had it installed in parts so they could see it, they suddenly realised, OK, we can't realise it's a plastic system, and they approved it.
When the conservation officer approached those panels, she couldn't believe that it wasn't cast iron, that it wasn't original period-style guttering, but it actually was a modern system. That's been there for 4 years. It's never leaked once. It's never had a problem. It still looks fantastic now, and it will still look fantastic when the Abbey is sat here for another generation, I'm sure.
I was going to say, for as long as the Abbey is still standing.
Yeah.
Built to last.
So there's now 50 new homes here in a building that was derelict effectively and had no long-term survival.
It was always the case that it had to be of an outstanding and well thought through design that preserved its historical value with no compromise.
A wonderful site, a wonderful history. Gary, Alistair, thank you and congratulations on your regeneration of Stapehill Abbey.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.